Hello and welcome to my review for Deadpool 2. The film that wasn't that excited about. And this is a franchise now, I guess, that I'm not quite seeing the hype in. I've seen quite a few people say that this film wasn't as enjoyable for them than the first one, that the Joker's running a bit thin. People I've spoken to, other people think it's better than the first Deadpool movie. So, I mean, I did my review for the first Deadpool film 2 years ago when it came out in 2016. Got a fair bit of flack, from people because I only thought it was really good. I found the humour to be very hit and miss, and so in a film that's really completely built upon jokes, half of it wasn't that entertaining because, like, the jokes that missed were a big part of the film. The jokes that hit were a big part of the film too. I think for me, with Deadpool, and I think Ryan Reynolds is great as the character, he really suits it like a glove, and is just great, I think. I really enjoy him as the character, but I don't really find him funny when he's just making general quips. Just the general gags and the general kind of, mile-a-minute mouth he's got, and all these different things he says. I don't find them very funny, but what I find funny is the meta aspect of the film. And again, and I'm talking about both films here, really, because I can kind of tar them with the same brush, the two Deadpool movies. Because Deadpool 2 felt very familiar to me to the first film. It's a nice, continuation in that respect for people who love the first film, I think. But it's the meta moments that I find really funny because they go, oh, it's a R-rated superhero movie. It's something we've never seen before in terms of like the violence and the language and the sex and so on. But that's stuff I've seen before, and up to a point it gets so gratuitous it just doesn't really mean anything. Particularly in regards to Wade Wilson, Deadpool, where you know he can't die and he gets cut up and all that kind of stuff. He can just grow his arms back, he can grow his legs back, so there's no real stakes there. The violence becomes very cartoony. But something you really don't see in a lot of films are lead characters that know that they're a character in a film, which I find really funny, like in the first film when I think Colossus says, I'm taking you to Magneto, and Deadpool says, well, which one? Fassbender or Fassbender or McKellen? It might be the other way around actually. It might have been Professor X, and he said which one? Patrick Stewart and James McAvoy. But that kind of thing where he's even referencing himself as Ryan Reynolds being in the movie. That's the stuff I find funny, and there's quite a few of those moments in Deadpool 2 which I really found funny, laughed out loud, and everything like that. But overall, Deadpool 2 just was okay. I enjoyed it. It was a good time. I didn't regret going to see it. Had some some cool action sequences. Nothing too inspired. Very routine. I like they poked fun at that, and he's like, oh, time for another gratuitous CGI action scene, which I thought that, again, I like that kind of stuff. The highlight of the film for me was Cable, played by Josh Brolin, who is really dominating and tying up the comic book hero market over the past couple of months. Did a great job as Thanos in Infinity War, and he's great as Cable, I think. And also, like, the visual effects on him were fantastic. There's a shot of him shirtless where you see kind of his physique as it blends into the metal arm, and it was really well done. Very, very top-notch kind of top-tier visual effects for Cable's metal arm and everything. And he's I'm not going into the story of the plot too much, but he's what would you call him? A hitman, a vigilante from the future, and he comes back to the time of Deadpool 2 to kill someone who goes on to murder his family. So it's very much a Terminator kind of thing going on there, which they kind of poke fun at. I think he calls him John Connor at one point, as well as One-Eyed Willy, which I popped for that. Again, stuff like that I find very fun. I think he even calls him Thanos at one point, which I thought was fantastic. But I think Josh Brolin's a great actor, and I think he really made the character of Cable interesting to me, and I loved his backstory, why he was doing what he was doing, and the character of Fire Fist, played by Julian Dennison, who was fantastic in what's the exact title? Hunt for the Wilder People, which is one of my favorite films from 2016, and it's from Taika Waititi, who also did Thor Ragnarok. Bit of a Marvel connection there, but Julian Dennison, this young Kiwi actor, he's so funny. And another thing I loved, which is just again more meta stuff, was that in that film Hunt for the Wilder People, he's a big fan of Tupac, his character in the film, Ricky Baker, and his adoptive mother is saying like, well, who's Tupac? Oh, he's a rapper, he's like my best friend. And that was like my favourite joke of the whole film. So in Deadpool 2 there's a Tupac joke, so I thought that was kind of, you know, clearly they must have seen this kid in the film, thought he was hilarious, and brought him in for this film, and I thought it made the film a lot more enjoyable. I enjoyed his character quite a bit, and he provided a few laughs. Apart from that, I don't know, there's an element in Deadpool 2 of really trying to take itself seriously while not taking itself seriously, something that wasn't really in the first one. I mean, the first one, it kind of tries to flip everything on its head. It's like, hey, we're aware that we're a superhero movie, we're going to do things differently. And then by the third act, it's the same old superhero movie with the origin story and then fighting the bad guy and killing him at the end and the big action sequence. In Deadpool 2, there's a different kind of story at play where Deadpool has something bad happen to him and he has to kind of get over that and find his place in the world all over again, in a way. And they really... I'm really split about it, because towards the end, like, they really lean into the emotional stuff, like they're really trying to say something, and some of those elements were successful, but ultimately by the end it's just, forget it, you know, they kind of just brush it under the carpet again, and so it means nothing, and then it's just mixed messages, I think, as far as that's concerned. I'm not quite sure how you go about making that better. But for people who are big fans of the character, I think, you know, it's going to be a film that everyone has loved. I mean, it's been out for a couple of weeks now, so I'm a bit late with the review, but I enjoyed it. There was some good stuff, but mostly, again, it's the things referencing other movies and referencing the fact that it's a movie that I enjoy more than the, you know, just the general kind of, you know, fuck this, fuck that, and all that kind of, hey, we got an R rating, so we can push the boundaries here with the violence and language. It becomes a bit kind of childish at times, and a bit too aware of itself, and a bit smug at times. I think the first film was as well for me. But it's a very specific thing, and comedy is so hard to get right, in the sense of, you know, working for everyone. Like, I think that's probably the hardest thing you can do, is make a comedy film that everyone can agree on, you know, as far as the humour of it goes. So, yeah, it was what it was. I enjoyed it, and that's about it. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts down below, what you thought of Deadpool 2, and I'll see you in the next one.
It's alright by me. Apart from the fact he throws cans of Carlin into a tree. Yeah, he's really cool. Yeah, he's really cool. But he's not quite as cool as you, 'cause